Good morning! Cup of coffee to start your day?
No thanks, Jonathan.
How about a baguette?
Now, I've personally been looking forward to playing the PSVR2 version of Binary Mills Into Black for quite some time, because I think this is a bit of an underrated VR gem and an absolutely fantastic game on Quest. When it comes to the PSVR2 version, the developers have said all the sexy things that make PSVR fanboys go absolutely weak at the knees, and in today's review I tested Into Black on both the PS5 and PS5 Pro. The PSVR2 version offers dynamic real-time shadows, a 90Hz native refresh rate on base PS5 and a 120Hz native refresh rate on the PS5 Pro. There's also dynamic foveated rendering thanks to using PSVR2's eye tracking and full headset haptics and adaptive triggers. Plus, they have remastered some of the environments, such as the water, flora, fauna, geometry and textures of this already great looking game. Unfortunately though, this review isn't all super fantastic news because there's been a couple of technical issues along the way which I'll get into shortly. But to alleviate you from any pain you might have suddenly felt when I said that, I'm certain these issues can and will be patched, and more importantly, only one of these issues impacted my enjoyment of the game. I lost 5 hours in this game last night at the blink of an eye, which is exactly what happened the first time I played it, and I've yet to still play it in co-op or the 12-player multiplayer, which could easily be the best part of the entire game's offering for most players. But for some reason I personally love playing this game solo, because Into Black seems to have cherry-picked the exact things that I love from other games like No Man's Sky and Deep Rock Galactic, but left out all the confusion I sometimes get when I start playing these types of games. Plus, they've mixed in a fast-paced first-person shooter with multiple weapons and upgrades. There's literally tons of things to collect, scan, and there's also a sprinkling of light puzzling. But the real icing on this virtual space cake is the story, which I think is really cool. Into Black sees you stranded on an alien planet with your ship's engine core weirdly missing and the ship's AI is now offline, and you have to try and fix everything and get home, and your only companion on this journey is an AI assistant called Jonathan. He's voiced by the same guy who did Codsworth from Fallout, and he is simply awesome, and the quality of the voice acting adds a lot to the back and forth between the two of you.
Great, a lava river. Like this place wasn't dangerous enough.
Actually, since we are underground, it's technically magma.
Is that really helping our situation right now?
Pit entry is its own reward.
Jonathan makes little jokes, acts a bit stupid, and seems scared of aliens, but he never gets annoying. There's a mystery to solve here, and I don't want to spoil it for you, but I personally think it's pretty cool, and you also start learning about an old alien race by deciphering messages by scanning relics, similar to Returnal. The massively addictive part of this game though is gaining XP for my character and leveling up all my weapons and tools, and it would be an understatement to say it's very addictive. The more you use something like the mining laser for example, the more powerful it gets, and this goes for everything else you use. When you first start the game, one of your hands will be constantly used to hold a torch, which can also be used to fire flares. But later on you can upgrade your weapons with a light, and if you find the correct schematic, you can even add a torch to the head of your spacesuit, therefore freeing up your hand. My personal favourite attack loadout after a few hours of playing the game is using the mining laser in combination with the submachine gun. When this tool and this weapon are at a higher level, they can make short work of even the biggest baddies you come across. Now, I mentioned earlier this game is fast, and I don't just mean fast in terms of how quick you move and run. It's having the ability to do a triple dash in mid-air, and then you can upgrade your suit and add a triple jump, and that's another reason I like this game so much. Most other sci-fi games feel quite slow because being in space for some reason means you have to move quite slowly, but with Into Black that is not the case. Plus, it's a bit of a platformer, especially when you get the schematic for the hard light gun. This allows you to generate hard light platforms so you can jump to pretty much anywhere in some of these absolutely huge caves that you'll be exploring. All the resources you find can be used to fabricate upgrades for your suit, tools and weapons, and this is where you'll find yourself completely caught in an addictive loop, not only to complete each mission, but to harvest as many resources as possible, and if you don't have enough of something, you can take a break from the story and go on mining runs at any time, because no doubt you'll find some cool schematic or a cool upgrade at one of the many chests you'll come across, and you'll be short of one item or another. At the end of each run you have to set up a container to teleport you back back to the ship. You have to protect this area for 60 seconds against incoming waves of enemies, because if you don't, you'll lose all the stuff you've collected. As gameplay goes, there's 20 or so missions, and if you take your time to gather as much resources and schematics as I like to do, the single player campaign will probably last you between 8 to 10 hours. And it's very easy to get sidetracked since all of your equipment has skill trees, and there's general modifiers for your suit that increases health, damage, storage and power of your mining beam. And as you go through all the different caves, you'll find there's two types of locked crates with varying levels of loot, perks and suit customization. The devs have really cracked the code for me on this one. A VR sci-fi story based campaign which looks and performs great. It has great voice acting, a mystery and tons of unlockables and upgrades. But now let's talk about the port in terms of technicals, and on the base PS5, using native 90Hz, this game runs like absolute butter. The improved shadows look great, as does everything else, but the textures can look a little bit questified in certain parts of the game. There's infrequently a little environmental popping, but it's the strange wobbling effect and audio cutouts that is the most problematic for me in this review build of the game. The world wobble is only slight and really only noticeable when standing still, but it gives you a feeling like you're underwater. Only slightly though. It's very hard to describe, and I don't want to make it sound worse than it really is, because it's not something I'm worried about and it won't affect my recommendation of the game, but I've definitely seen it before when testing previous ports of Quest games to PSVR2. But usually this is in very early stages of testing and not final releases, so I know for a fact this can definitely be fixed with a patch, but what it is and what causes it is still unknown to me. The audio however is my biggest gripe because it does affect your enjoyment of the game. Around mission 7 or 8 I noticed the sounds from my SMG gun started to cut out, and from then on it only got worse. Soon I lost all verbal audio, so I had to reselect subtitles as the only way to know what was going on with the story. I did restart the game 2 or 3 times and it does fix the issue for a while, but it did soon make a return, and the more I played the game, the worse it seemed to get. But for everything else, on the base PS5 versus the Quest, this is a noticeable upgrade, mainly due to the adaptive triggers which feel absolutely brilliant, real shadows, headset haptics and the smooth and consistent frame rate. Now let's talk about the Pro version, which runs at 120Hz, and I've got to say, for the first time I'm not actually that wowed by the difference between the base PS5 and the Pro. It's just so smooth on the base PS5 that I wouldn't say this is a meaningful upgrade for anyone. But nevertheless, it is a welcome upgrade if you do own a Pro. But I was hoping the minor warping or wobbling effect that I mentioned earlier would somehow not be on the PS5 Pro version, but it is unfortunately still here. So on to my summary of Into Black on PlayStation VR 2. If you love sci-fi, exploration, action, leveling and a decent story, this game is easily for you. In terms of ports, and for those of you who own the Quest version, I do actually believe that once the issues I've spoken about get fixed, this is definitely worth a secondary purchase for the haptics and performance alone. If you are however only a Quest owner and you've never seen this game before, I will leave an affiliate link to the Quest version in this video description to save you 10%, because I do recommend this game on every platform. Well, that's all I've got for you today. I look forward to seeing your comments. Thank you to everyone who likes and subscribes, and I'll see you on the next one.
Break through it.
Oh, wonderful, we're through.